If you ever enter a hotel where the elevator has more floors than the building should physically contain, leave immediately. Don't explore, don't answer the phones. And if the elevator doors open onto a floor with no windows, don't step outside, because 2 winters ago, I stayed inside a hotel that should not have existed, and I still don't know if I ever truly escaped it. This is Tales of the Dark, and this is the story of the hotel with infinite floors. My name is Michael Reeves. And in January of 2024, I was driving through Colorado during a snowstorm after a business conference in Denver. The storm hit harder than forecasts predicted. Snow swallowed the highways, visibility vanished. Cars started sliding off roads. By midnight, police had already shut down most mountain routes. I remember gripping the steering wheel while my headlights illuminated nothing except white snow spiraling through darkness. That's when I saw the hotel, a massive building standing alone beside the highway, tall, old-fashioned, almost completely hidden by snow and fog. The glowing sign outside read, "The Eidolon Grand Hotel." I had never heard of it before, but at that point I didn't care. I was exhausted, cold, and the storm was getting worse every minute. The parking lot was almost empty. Only 3 cars sat buried beneath snow near the entrance. Something about the building immediately felt strange. Not haunted exactly. Wrong, the architecture didn't make sense. The hotel looked taller than it should have been, too narrow for its height. Its upper floors disappeared into darkness above the storm clouds. I stepped inside carrying my suitcase and immediately noticed the silence. No music, no guests talking, no footsteps. Only the faint hum of old ceiling lights. The lobby looked frozen in time, dark red carpets, golden chandeliers, wood-paneled walls. Everything looked decades old but perfectly clean. Behind the front desk stood a woman wearing a black uniform. She smiled politely the moment she saw me. But something about her expression unsettled me instantly. It never changed, not once, like the smile had been painted onto her face. "Checking in?" she asked softly. Her voice echoed strangely through the empty lobby. I nodded quickly, just for the night. She handed me an old brass room key. Room 1806, 18th floor. I frowned immediately. The building couldn't have had 18 floors. From outside, it looked closer to 12 at most. Still, I was too tired to question it. The receptionist noticed me staring at the key, then quietly said something that still haunts me. "If the elevator stops somewhere unfamiliar," her smile widened slightly, "do not leave the elevator." Cold chills crawled across my neck instantly. Before I could ask what she meant, the lobby lights flickered once. And when I looked back toward the desk, the receptionist was gone, not walking away. Gone, like she'd vanished completely. I stood frozen for several seconds, then convinced myself exhaustion was messing with my head. The elevator waited across the lobby. Old metal doors, dim yellow lighting. Ancient floor buttons stretching far higher than the building should allow. Floor 18 existed. So did 2231-47. My stomach tightened immediately. No hotel should have had that many floors. I stepped inside anyway. The elevator doors closed slowly behind me, then it started rising. At first, everything seemed normal. Floor 3, floor 7, floor 12. Then suddenly the lights flickered. The elevator jerked violently, and instead of stopping at floor 18, it continued upward by itself. 19, 20, 21. I pressed the emergency stop button repeatedly. Nothing happened. The elevator kept climbing silently. Then finally, ding, floor 31. The doors opened, and my blood turned cold. The hallway outside looked impossible. Long yellow walls stretching endlessly beneath flickering fluorescent lights. No decorations, no windows, no doors except one far in the distance. The carpet looked damp, the air felt humid, and somewhere far away I heard something moving. Not footsteps, dragging, slow wet dragging echoing through the endless hallway. Every instinct screamed at me not to step outside. Then I remembered the receptionist's warning, "Do not leave the elevator." I slammed the close doors button immediately. Nothing happened. The doors stayed open. The dragging sound grew slightly louder. Closer, my pulse started pounding violently. Then I saw movement far down the hallway. a silhouette turning the distant corner slowly, too tall, too thin. Its arms hung nearly to the floor. I hit the buttons harder desperately, still nothing. The thing dragged itself closer through flickering lights. And as it moved beneath one overhead light, I realized something horrifying. It had no face, just smooth pale skin stretched across where its features should have been. The elevator lights suddenly died. Darkness swallowed everything instantly, and from somewhere inside the hallway came rapid footsteps, running toward the elevator. The lights snapped back on. The hallway was empty again. The elevator doors finally slammed shut, and the elevator dropped violently downward. Michael crashed against the wall while the entire cabin shook. Floor numbers flashed randomly. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Then suddenly, ding, floor 18. The doors opened calmly. Normal hallway, normal lighting. Room 1806 waiting ahead like nothing had happened. Michael stumbled out immediately, breathing hard. He rushed into his room and locked the door behind him. The room itself looked ordinary enough. King-sized bed, television, desk, bathroom. But one detail made his stomach drop instantly. There were no windows, not one. A hotel room on the 18th floor with no windows. Then the room phone rang. Michael stared at it silently. The phone continued ringing, slow, persistent. Finally, he answered nervously. Static filled the line for several seconds. Then a terrified male voice whispered, "Do not sleep after 2 a.m. The line went dead instantly. Michael slowly lowered the receiver. Then somewhere above him he heard footsteps, heavy footsteps on the ceiling, walking slowly across the floor directly overhead. But according to the elevator, there shouldn't have been any floor above 18. Then the footsteps stopped, and a second later something knocked softly on his room door. 3 slow knocks. Michael approached carefully, then froze when he looked through the peephole. The hallway outside was empty, but directly above the door something moved across the ceiling, crawling upside down. And as it passed beneath the hallway light, he saw a pale faceless head slowly turn toward the peephole. Then came another knock, this time from inside the room. Michael's blood froze instantly. The second knock had come from inside the hotel room, not the hallway, inside, very slowly. He turned around. The room looked exactly the same. Bed, lamp, desk, bathroom door, nothing moved, but the silence felt heavier now, like something was standing nearby holding its breath. Then tap. A soft sound came from the bathroom. Michael stared at the closed bathroom door while cold panic spread through his chest. Another tap followed, then another, wet tapping like long fingernails lightly touching porcelain. Michael backed toward the hotel room entrance slowly. His hands trembled violently, reaching for the doorknob. Locked, good. Then the bathroom light flicked on beneath the door by itself. A pale yellow glow spilled across the carpet, and something underneath the bathroom door slowly blocked the light. A shadow, bare feet appeared beneath the gap, standing motionless. Michael stopped breathing. Because he was completely certain nobody had entered that bathroom. The room phone rang again, louder this time. The sudden noise nearly made him scream. Michael grabbed the receiver immediately, desperate for another human voice. Instead, he heard himself breathing on the other end, not normal breathing, panicked breathing. Running breathing, then his own voice whispered, "Don't let it see your face." The call disconnected. At that exact moment, the bathroom doorknob slowly began turning. Michael bolted for the room exit instantly. He unlocked the door and sprinted into the hallway just as the bathroom door creaked open behind him. He didn't look back. The hallway outside looked different now. Longer, much longer. The lights flickered weakly overhead while the corridor stretched impossibly far in both directions. And every hotel room door stood slightly open. Darkness filled the cracks. Michael hurried toward the elevator at the far end of the hallway while something behind him stepped slowly out of room 1806. Wet footsteps echoed across the carpet, one after another, not rushing, following. Michael finally reached the elevator and slammed the button repeatedly. The footsteps behind him continued getting closer, closer. Then all the nearby hotel room doors slowly opened wider together. Inside each room, people stood motionless in darkness, guests, pale, expressionless hotel guests staring silently into the hallway. None of them blinked, none moved, they simply watched Michael. The elevator doors finally opened. Michael jumped inside immediately and smashed the lobby button. The doors began closing slowly, then suddenly a pale hand shot between them. The doors stopped instantly. Michael looked up in terror. The faceless thing from floor 31 stood outside the elevator now. Its skin looked damp beneath flickering lights. Its head twitched unnaturally while long fingers gripped the elevator doors, and slowly its blank face began changing. Features pushed outward beneath the skin. Eyes, mouth, nose. Like something learning how to become human. Then Michael realized with horror the forming face looked exactly like his. The creature smiled using Michael's own face. The elevator suddenly dropped. The doors slammed shut, cutting the creature off as Michael crashed against the floor. The elevator fell violently downward, shaking harder than before. Floor numbers blurred rapidly. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 66. Michael stared upward in disbelief. The building should not physically have had that many floors. Then the elevator stopped completely. Silence, ding, floor 66. The doors slowly opened. And Michael felt genuine terror unlike anything he'd ever experienced. The entire floor looked like an abandoned version of the hotel lobby. Infinite rows of identical hallways stretched in every direction beneath dim red emergency lighting. Furniture lay overturned. The carpets looked rotten and stained black. And hundreds of hotel room doors lined the endless halls, every single one slightly open. A low humming sound echoed throughout the massive floor. Then came the announcement. A distorted female voice crackled through hidden speakers overhead. Permanent guests may now proceed to check-in. Michael's chest tightened instantly. Then every hotel room door on floor 66 slowly opened wider at the same time. People stepped out into the red-lit hallways. Dozens, maybe hundreds, some wore modern clothing, others looked decades old. Businessmen, children, tourists, flight attendants, all pale, emotionless, silent, and every single one had Michael's face. His stomach dropped violently. The copies began walking slowly toward the elevator together, not running, just calmly approaching. Michael hammered random elevator buttons desperately. The doors started closing while the copies kept coming. Closer, closer. One of them finally spoke, using Michael's own voice. "You checked in." Another smiled unnaturally. "You belong here now." The elevator doors closed just before the copies reached him. Then the elevator shot upward with explosive force. Michael collapsed against the wall, gasping while floor numbers flashed uncontrollably again. Then suddenly everything stopped. Ding, lobby. The doors opened calmly. The original hotel lobby waited outside exactly as before. Silent, empty, perfectly clean, snowstorm visible through front windows. Michael stumbled out immediately. The receptionist stood behind the desk again, smiling softly, like nothing had happened. "You checked out early," she said politely. Michael backed away toward the entrance. "What is this place?" The receptionist tilted her head slightly, then her smile widened unnaturally. "This hotel exists between places," she whispered. "Sometimes people arrive who were never supposed to." The lights flickered again, and for one horrifying second, Michael saw the truth behind her appearance. Not human skin, a moving pale surface filled with shifting faces beneath it. Hundreds of trapped, screaming faces pushing beneath her skin. Then the lights stabilized, normal again. Michael ran. He burst through the hotel entrance into the freezing storm and jumped into his car. This time the engine started instantly. He drove without stopping until sunrise. And when daylight finally broke across the mountains, the hotel was gone. No building, no parking lot, nothing. Just snow-covered forest beside the highway. Police later searched the area after Michael reported everything. No records of any Eidolon Grand Hotel existed anywhere in Colorado. But weeks later, Michael noticed something horrifying. Every hotel elevator he entered occasionally displayed an extra floor button. Floor 31. And sometimes late at night, his apartment elevator opens onto a yellow hallway that should not exist. Long fluorescent lights, wet carpet, and somewhere far away, something dragging itself slowly closer, still searching for him. If you are brave enough to hear more nightmares, subscribe to Tales of the Dark, and if you have your own terrifying experience, leave it in the comments or send your story by email. Maybe your nightmare will become the next story told here.